Welcome, everyone. It is approximately 6:52. Welcome to the City Council, Calexico Community Redevelopment Agency Successor Agency, Calexico Financing Authority, special meeting, January 8th, 2013. If we can start, please, with our legal report.
Thank you, Mayor. For the closed session report, item A, 3 cases under item A were discussed, direction was given, no reportable action was taken. The last case listed under item A, which is ECU 06787, was removed from the agenda. Items B through D, direction given, no reportable action taken. Thanks.
Thank you. City Clerk, please note the attendance. Everyone is here today. We'll start off with our Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. William Hermosillo, if you'll lead us, please. Thank you. I would like an approval of the agenda, please.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. I believe that maybe we should add the council comments were inadvertently left out, and so we will, I would like that the motion be amended to include that item.
Amended.
Second?
Second.
Okay, first by Mr. Moreno, second by Mr. Hodge. Please vote. Okay, motion passes. Thank you. First of all, we'll start out with presentations. Our first presentation will be by Juanita Pearson on a proposal for the Animal Shelter Foster Program. Is she here today? Come on in. Hi.
Good evening, my name is Juanita, and I'm a volunteer at the Calexico Animal Shelter.
Ms. Pearson, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. If you could speak out of the microphone or so, the recordings don't pick up your voice.
Let me repeat myself. My name is Juanita Pearson.
It doesn't sound like your voice is carrying. Go ahead and tap it. Okay, yeah, it sounds like a little. Are you picking up her voice? Just a little?
Okay.
Unless you want to stand at the podium. That might be a little easier.
Okay. Is this one on? Yeah. Okay. Okay, my name is Juanita Pearson. I'm a volunteer with the Calexico Animal Shelter. And what we're proposing to do is implement a foster care program. Go ahead, ma'am. This is why, excuse me, why we feel that the Calexico Animal Shelter needs such a program. It's to provide individualized attention to animals. We get several animals that come through there that have been severely neglected, or as you can see right here, this little guy came in, he was just almost starved to death, and or abused or injured, and they need extra attention. And we would like to put the program in so that people can not make a long-term commitment, but just take them into their home and work with them until they're either feeling better or until they're socialized. Right. And this is another little guy that came, or he didn't go to the shelter. Someone got him before he actually went to the shelter, so they were able to foster him, but he didn't make it. He was very ill. But the reason that we also want a foster program is because when they're so ill, it's really a sad case to see them just lying out there at the shelter on the cement all by themselves, and they need extra special attention. So we'd like to provide care to those that are sick or have chronic health conditions, recovering from surgery, or who are terminally ill, because we feel like end-of-life care is just as important as, if they're just sick. We'd like to give them a decent end of their life. Go ahead. And we would also like to work one-on-one with animals that have been, either they've been abused and they don't want to be around people, or else they just naturally need socialization skills, or they have really bad behavior so they're unadoptable, or if they need physical therapy after they've had surgery, and daily exercise or specialized diet. We do get several animals in there that are severely overweight and that need special diets and exercise, and they can't get that when they're in the shelter, right? Our goals are to expand the individualized help for animals that need more than the 4 hours per week that we provide, such as like house training. Some of them come, or several of them come in that are not house trained. We need to teach them how to trust humans, and they need constant daily love and attention. We feel like this could boost the animal adoption rates by just aiding the recovery process if they're ill or sick or recovering from surgery, and socializing animals that would otherwise be unadoptable, and to provide a calm, safe environment for those that are sick or those that are terminally ill. Go ahead. The required documents that we would implement would be the foster care application and the agreement that they would return the pet once the adoption is finalized, unless ahead of time, if we haven't found an adoptive parent or family, if they decide to adopt the animal, then that would be fine too. And to return any foster pet that cannot be adequately cared for, like if they lose their job and can't afford to keep it, or if they have to move, then they would return the pet. They would have to sign a hold harmless agreement, meaning that they would not hold the city of Calexico with any harm if the animal hurts them or tears up their house, so to speak. And they would also receive a foster care handbook, which would include general instructions for fostering an animal, and our emergency names and phone numbers, and a short summary of how to become a successful foster parent, and frequently asked questions. Now, this was taken from Cat's Cradle Shelter in Fargo, North Dakota. I've been following his story. His name is Grandpa Jones, and he was a cat that came in. He was really old, or they thought he was really old. He was about 7, but he was really malnourished and dirty, and he was just a mess, and nobody wanted him. And they rescued him from a pound, and this girl took him in as a foster parent, and now he's adopted to a regular family, and he's an absolute sweetheart. Okay. I don't know if you could see that very well. We would want to put out flyers to promote animal fostering, and this would be, tell your mother-in-law the guest room is taken by a foster pet. Right. Another one is, mind if I crash at your house for a while? Fostering a pet can change their life and yours. Great. Afraid of long-term commitment? Become a foster parent. Okay. And this is Charlie, and he was a former shelter dog at Calexico Animal Shelter. When he was moved to El Centro Humane Society, they do allow fostering, and one of our volunteers at the Calexico Animal Shelter took him in. As you can see on the left, he had a case of what is called cherry eye, and he needed a surgery, and the volunteers at Calexico Animal Shelter were able to raise enough money to pay for that surgery. And so the volunteer kept him until he recuperated from the surgery. Go ahead. And this is Charlie and his forever home, made possible by that fantastic foster parent. And as you can see, he's really happy in September, and by now he's just hanging out. He's part of the family. Go ahead. And this is a difference a foster parent can make. The little guy that came in that was so starved, that was the look in his eye, is like, why does life have to be so hard? And of course, Charlie, that is so happy after being fostered and finding a forever home, he's saying, I love being a dog, and that's what we want all of our animals to feel. Okay. And this is where I got the ideas and text taken with permission. Go ahead. This is additional concerns for the Calexico Animal Shelter are the heaters. They were paid for with money raised by the Hella Wolfwing race, and they were said to have been ordered 2 weeks ago. We'd kind of like to find out what happened to those. And because we have been having very cold nights, and even though we've purchased blankets and towels for the dogs to sleep on, it gets really cold, especially for the smaller dogs or the older dogs, and it makes their arthritis even worse. We would like to get a roof built to protect the Calexico Animal Shelter's animals from the elements, and removing the shrubbery to decrease the tick population, because it gets really, they come in with ticks and then we remove the ticks, but then there's a few always seem to get away and they just multiply. And we'd like to extend the chain link fence further south. This will increase the space that the larger dogs need to exercise, because we walk the dogs when we volunteer, but they need like a big space to constantly be able to move around. Okay. And we volunteer to ensure a better future for the dogs and cats at CAS, and the volunteer organization would like to continue to ask for help from the City Council and the Calexico PD, because working together is really essential, and it is a reflection on the City of Calexico, because we'd like to make the Calexico Animal Shelter something that everyone knows about and participates in. We'd like to get more volunteers, and we'd like to make the animals more adoptable. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Are there any questions?
Just a comment, just to say that it's wonderful to see how much work has been put into this project. And I hadn't met you before, but of course we've known Diana has been at this
Yes,
for a
she's
good
done
2
a
years.
fantastic job.
And I know that Mr. Moreno and Mr. Hodge are on a subcommittee to help out with that, so we're definitely there with you.
Thank you so much.
It's time to have another subcommittee meeting, so we'll be holding it.
Yes, I would appreciate that. Thank you.
It's a dog's life.
Thank you so much. Okay, next presentation is by Carmen Estrada with the Calexico Parents Athletic League. And there's also a ticket here from Tony Garcia, so I guess I'll take you both together.
Honorable Mayor, council members, good evening, everybody. I want to be brief with only 2 items in this presentation, because evidently it commingles with the consent agenda item number 2. So I'm going to deal with the special presentation. Actually, it's a special thanks to a pair of Calexicans. If you would ever try to coach or teach anybody 4 to 6 years old any particular sport, you know how hard it is. Okay, we have 2 people here that have done that for our 4 or 6-year-old soccer players. And because of their dedication, their hard work, and understanding, patience, above all patience, several other products are going to be going to Pennsylvania this summer. And I want to publicly recognize them and thank them Carlos Cervantes, are you here? Párese, por favor, Carlos Cervantes. Edna Cervantes, por favor, párese. These people have dedicated time, effort, and patience to cultivate, mold, and coach our 4 to 6 years old. Can you imagine if they were given a protein? They'd be champions. Thank you. Thank you very much. The other thing I wanted to say, we got word from Mr. Nick Finley that the litigation pending on the Cordova Park is done with. We can now move forward and start building there, or doing something with that park. We've gone ahead and recontacted the people we talked to 3 years ago when we started that project, and they're ready to do it. They're ready to go. So wonderful news in that aspect. That's all I have for that small presentation. And the agenda item, I guess, is later, or you want us to talk about it now?
No. We'll take the agenda item appropriately at its given
Thank
point.
you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Buenas noches, soy Carmen Estrada. De nuevo, tal vez digan que enfadosa, pero no. Esto es algo que traemos hace 3 años, como te había comentado Maritza, que lo empezamos nosotros, el cual se nos dijo que no. Entonces, queremos continuar con el proyecto, preproyecto que nos hizo el ingeniero, y la verdad queremos el apoyo de ustedes porque no queremos sorpresas, como les dije, que nos cierren nuestros parques que tenemos, porque es algo triste que nos cierren y no tengamos actividad. Yo de antemano les digo, por favor, hay que trabajar en conjunto, pero ya. Tenemos 90 días para quitar esa tierra y empezar, y se empieza de cero, no con tanto dinero. Empecemos, pero ya. Se los pido de favor. Thank you.
Gracias, señora Estrada. Voy a decir algo en inglés. Just so you could know, yesterday we initiated once again, Mr. Castro, myself, Mr. Rodriguez, and Sandra, to go out and start having some conversations and planning on what we're doing with our parks. I had to leave you because I wasn't feeling very well, and I'm still not feeling well, but we're doing that work now, so we'll be able to work together and together with you. So thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, moving along to the announcement, public comment section of our agenda. Announcement, public comments, public appearance and public comments not to exceed 3 minutes. This is the time for the public to address the council on any item not appearing on the agenda that is within the subject matter jurisdiction of the city council. The mayor will recognize you, and when you come to the microphone, please state your name and place of residence for the record. While members of the public are encouraged to participate, it is unlawful to distribute or delay the council meeting with personal or slanderous remarks. If the item you wish to comment on is a closed session or consent item, please comment now. If the item you wish to comment on is in the public portion of the agenda, we will take your comment when we get to that item on the agenda. Please direct your questions and comments to the city council. We're going to go ahead and start with Mr. Oscar Gonzalez. Mr. Gonzalez, you have here 3 different things on your sheet. It talks about your wanting to comment the presentation of Ms. Estrada, item 4 and item 5. Is that correct?
Yes.
Do you want to comment on item 4 and 5 right now, or until we get to those items?
No.
Until we get to the items?
I want to speak on 3 things that are not related to the agenda.
Okay, then if that's what you want to do, then you need to comment them at this point.
Speaking in the microphone, Mr. Gonzalez, so, yeah.
Can you keep time,
Yes.
Mr. Moreno? Oscar Gonzalez, 844 Encanto Terrace. I have 3 items that I would briefly and concisely and implicitly like to share with you. Congratulations to the City Council, the Mayor, Mr. Moreno, Mr. Kim, Mr. Castro, and of course, Mr. Hodge and Mr. Rodriguez. I forgot your name, I apologize. And the city administration and staff, ladies and gentlemen. I have found, I'm a student of public administration. I have a master's in public administration 40 years ago. Seems like yesterday. I obtained that from Cal State University, Northridge. And to me, it's a simple problem, simple solution. I I have written up, not today, a solution to open the library on Fridays in City Hall. However, I have to discuss this with the Fire Association, the Police Association, and the employees. And once I do that, I'll formalize it, give it to the mayor confidentially, and then she'll decide when she wants me to submit that volunteer. I'm a volunteer. And that's what I'm going to be doing from here on for the city. The other thing that I want to discuss, there's been a lot of misconception, and I heard some people today that are going to complain about sprinklers and so forth. And it has nothing to do with Advanced Service, Inc. Just like other people complain about the shrubbery, the islands downtown, that's not his job. That's not his job. If you look at the contract, independent of people who criticize that, I think Mr. Sedmin and Mr. Rodriguez should explain to those people that Mr. Joe Acuna has nothing to do with those items. However, I think it lures and it perks and it keeps coming up. Even people on the street complain, and I keep telling them that's not his responsibility. In conclusion, the last thing I wanted to talk about is...
You have 30 seconds, Mr. Gonzalez.
Is my time up?
30 seconds.
I'm not going to talk about the third item because I would be incriminating myself. Because I'll probably be applying for that. Let me just say that 30 seconds. Marlene Thomas and I, when I came back in 1975, I wrote the contracts for the infrastructure for CCAC. When you look at CCAC, there was two people. Marlene Thomas and I went to Washington. Now Jerry Brown is the governor. When I saw him at the last Democratic convention in LA, I said, I'm a member of CCAC. He said, where's Gopher? Where's Jack Ortega? We did those grants. And
Okay, Mr. Gonzalez.
Thank you.
Thank you. And now, let me ask you, though, you did state here that you wanted to have comments on number 4 and number 5. Are you still wanting to do that?
If you want me to,
I'll call you when we get to that point. How's that? All right.
thank you.
It's good to see you without a walker. You look healthy.
Okay, our next public comment is from Daniel Gutierrez, and the subject is the police department.
Buenas noches, mi nombre es Daniel Gutiérrez, 253 Robert Kennedy, Calexico. Vengo nada más a anticiparle al jefe de policía que ponga más atención en sus trabajos, porque estamos pasando por una situación muy triste. Tuvimos un accidente hace mes y medio en el Kennedy y es por falta de un señalamiento en esa esquina. Van a seguir pasando problemas allí. ¿O quiere, señor jefe, que sigan los problemas como el que pasó hace mes y medio? Quiero que me responda, por favor.
Señor Gutiérrez, no puede responder el chief a su
bueno,
comentario
ok, pero
suyo.
estoy anticipando.
Y cuando se dirige, se tiene que dirigir hacia nosotros, por favor.
Ok, pues disculpe. Entonces, aquí lo que está pasando, que no está cumpliendo con su servicio. No hace falta el que se queda, ni hace falta el que se va. Si él no quiere seguir funcionando aquí con la ciudad de Calexico, que se le paguen sus 3 meses y se retire. Es dicho. Gracias.
Gracias a usted. Okay, next comments are from Javier Gonzalez. Thank you. Javier Gonzalez, subject is the Kennedy Gardens Resident Council.
Honorable Mayor, council members, my name is Javier Gonzalez, 237 Hernandez. I'm here today representing the Kennedy Garden Resident Council. It's a group of residents that have come together for one purpose only, that is to upgrade our neighborhood, to clean our parks. I mean, I'm not here to blame anybody, point fingers, or criticize the administration. I know it's hard. I mean, our neighborhood is in bad condition, our parks. The reason they're here, it's they want to volunteer their time, their effort. There are only about 14 of them, but we already have 30 people volunteering. We have a plan of our first phase. We're going to clean graffiti and debris and litter from our neighborhood. Around April, we're planning to plant trees and shrubs. And come summer, we're thinking of trying to reopen the Aztec Boxing Club, which this group started about 10 years ago. What we're here for is we need your help. You guys told us that you were willing to help. We're asking for your help. We want to work with the administration. I mean, we can help. We can work together. You guys give us the paint. We'll paint the graffiti. Whenever we get together to clean the park, send us an employee with a truck. I mean, we're not here to criticize. We know you need help, but our neighborhood, our parks are in very bad conditions. We need benches. We need our trees are falling. I mean, it's getting to the point where a broken sprinkler takes 3 to 4 months to fix. We have a person here that's been fixing it. He's putting his time and effort and resources. And just to let you know that we're going to be very active. We're going to hold you to your word. I know it's not hard. We're not going to criticize you. We want to work together. And that's why we're here. I'm going to sit down with Mr. Servin to plan on bettering our. We won't get anything if we start blaming each other. We want to begin with Zapata Park. That is a very, very bad park that needs our attention. And in about 2 months, we're going to do a presentation. We're going to show pictures. But once again, we're here. We need your help. We need you to ask the employees to step up to the plate. We're going to volunteer our time, our effort, and our resources. And that's about it. If you have any questions.
Okay. Mr. Gonzalez, just so you can know, the same comment I had for Mrs. Estrada is that we are now having the subcommittee work closely together. There are some internal changes happening in the city that you might want to be aware of, and how things are going to be handled with regard to park needs and maintenance and issues like that from here on in. You might want to have a meeting with Mr. Castro, myself, and the other individuals that are there with you. That way you can understand what the changes, of course, the positive changes, hopefully, and that we can then work from here on in with understanding those changes.
I just want to add that these people, Mr. Ontiveros, Mr. Jimenez, Mr. Marin Jr., Mr. Garcia, Mr. Vizcarra, Favela, Andrade, Rangel, they've been doing it for the past year. They irrigate our parks. We have different cul-de-sacs. We've been taking care of them for the past year, and we plan to continue. And thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your volunteer work. Okay. Next individual with request for public comments is Vicente Cuevas, and the subject is VV Williams and swap meet traffic congestion.
Good evening. My name is Vincent Cuevas, 734 Dual Avenue, Police Commissioner, Community Advocate. I am here again to address the same issue regarding the VV Williams Street and the Santo Tomas swap meet based on resident concerns and my research. It appears there is non-compliance with respect to the health and safety requirements of the city ordinances and county and state regulatory provisions. There have also been 4 fires raging in the swap meet triggered by hazardous chemicals. Their non-compliance is traffic congestion, severe dust pollution, sewage runoff where I don't know where it comes from, but there was sewage on the street. Previously, these issues on safety and health on VV Williams have been brought up before with a petition of 120 signatures towards the city of Calexico. It appears to The residents continue to protest the lack of quality of life in Calexico from the streets bordering V.V. Williams and the swap meet. I sympathize with the residents facing these issues. Thank you. I have referred you to Mr. Carlos Tapia of the Southern Pacific Railroad, who has complained about the trespassing on the railroad tracks by swap meet choppers. I have not received an acknowledgement in writing that the city has taken any action regarding these issues. Do I need to put myself on a line item agenda with more signatures and witnesses asking for the city to comply? Or will the city please provide me with a written response that indicates any action the city has taken? These issues have been brought up before. I'm concerned. I see safety issues on the street of V.V. Williams. It's incredibly, I invite you to go on a Saturday morning to see the traffic congestion. And I think I've gone once with Bill Hodge before, and we've noticed this problem. And I just want to rephrase that need a traffic light. They need some kind of traffic control. And I bring it to you today. Hopefully, you will respond.
Thank you, Mr. Cuevas. I just have a curious question. Have you been in contact with staff with regard to this issue?
I did meet previously with Mr. Servine,
Okay.
but we haven't met in a while now.
Okay.
So the problem persists. So what I'm thinking of doing is hopefully trying to get something committed by the staff, the department, that will engage to resolve some of these problems.
Okay, I guess.
Just
Mr.
a
Richards?
comment, if you'll follow up with Mr. Servine, we'll set up a meeting, I'll make sure also the police chief is there, and myself, and we'll start going line item by line item and see what we can do to address them.
I'll be more than glad to have a dialogue on it.
I think that's the best thing to do, too.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, I think that's all for public comments. As far as for general public comments, I have two more here from Mr. Asiad and from Mr. Romo, but it appears that these two are for specific items, so I'll call you when we get to that point. Okay, we are now moving on then to council comments. Sorry? Sure, if you'd like to come to the podium, sir. You didn't give me a sheet, but that's fine. Go ahead. Yes, I did. You did? What's your name? Oh, but your request, Mr. Romo, just for clarification, is with regard to an item.
Yes,
So
since
usually-
you have all the material there, I don't need to speak anymore. And I just wanted to make sure that I gave it to Oscar previously, and I don't think I have to speak anymore because you mentioned that, I thought this was a regular meeting, so that was my confusion, I'm sorry.
This is a regular meeting.
It is a regular meeting.
The reason I would say that the reason it's called a special meeting is because we had to switch the dates. It's usually the first and the third Tuesday of every
Oh,
month.
I
And
see.
because of the holiday, then we switched it to today. Therefore, it has the special,
Okay, I'll just, since you have my application there and my qualifications there, I don't need to speak anymore.
I think the item he's referring to will be to you at the next meeting under Housing Authority appointments. They're not on your agenda tonight, they'll be on the next meeting.
It's not here in the
oh,
agenda.
I apologize. I thought you were talking about appointments for item number 6. You're talking about Housing Authority Commissioner appointments, which is coming in the future.
It doesn't matter if it, yeah, right.
Go ahead and say your comments.
Oh, I think I just did. And my name is John Romo. I'm a housing and community consultant. I am semi-retired now, but I'm still in county boards, currently with the county behavioral health services. And I am seeking appointment from this council because I am the only certified commissioner in this city as a housing commissioner from the Department of HUD directly. So basically, that is my comment for this council to take this into consideration, or my application whenever it comes up. That was it. Mr. Rodriguez, do you have a copy of this?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Romo, and I do apologize for the confusion. So therefore, then I'm not pulling your item up later. Okay, thank you. So, Mr. Asiad, we are going to wait for you for later, right? When the item comes up. We will call you when your item comes up, which is item number 4, okay? Okay, back to council comments. Go ahead and start with Mr., what's your name again? Mr. Hodge?
Ms. Cuevas, residents, I apologize. It's embarrassing to me. You've been bringing up this issue so many times, but Mr. Servine, this is my time for comment. Seriously, have we actually taken any time to look at this issue? Or has it just been laying dormant? Because this gentleman, with many others concerned residents, I mean, it's embarrassing to me when our citizens keep coming up and up and up and up and telling us in good faith what our problems are, and we just find, did you get a hold of staff? You know, it makes me feel bad because I feel like sometimes we're just brushing them to the side, and that's not what we're here for. So have we seriously looked at this issue? I know now we're going to, but have we in the past?
Yes, we have.
Why does it take so much time?
Well, part of it is out of our hands, sir. The traffic issue, for example, we can't just willy-nilly put stop signs, stop lights out there. We have to do a traffic study, and of
Okay.
course, that takes money.
So maybe what we're wrong in is that we just forget about our citizens and we don't communicate to them that we're working on it. Do we have this gentleman's number? Have we tried to call them to let them know? I mean, they have the responsibility to let us know too. It's a two-way street, but.
Well, as I said, I have spoken with him. He did say that he spoke to me some time ago. We discussed the item. I gave him some information, and then I had no more calls.
I just feel embarrassed when our citizens keep coming up over and over again and bringing these issues. Oh, anyway, okay, thank you very much on that issue. Mrs. Toller, I was very pleased to read that once again, would you mind to elaborate a little? We're working on the sports summit.
Yes, Sandra Toller, Community Services Director. Yes, we are working on the second annual Sports Summit. It's going to be on March 2nd. It's going to be an all-day event again, and we're looking for activities and presentations, workshops for both parents and coaches, so that we
do a lot of exercises again.
we're hopefully going to find a fun presenter for the afternoon. Yes, we're also looking for donations, so if you'd like to sponsor, if you'd like to
Did you hear
sponsor
that?
the T-shirt,
Donations, folks.
we're looking for $100 donations.
It's a worthy cause.
And we have actually made some really good contacts with the LA Foundation and with the Soccer Foundation. So we're excited about the programs that we're going to be having for you. I'll keep you posted.
Thank you. Mr. City Manager? Yes, sir. How are we moving forward on the retiree celebration?
We are scheduled for the 29th, and we plan on having a special meeting at 6 o'clock where we'll recognize the retirees and provide them with a small token of our appreciation, and then we will exit into the lobby and have a reception for them there. And it's scheduled for the 29th at 6 o'clock. And we have sent out letters to all of the retirees and are waiting confirmations from them.
You mentioned a gentleman, Bill Mathis, right? About he's wanting to help us, the city council,
To do a team building.
T-building, but that's not what I'm about to say. I had heard that we were going to get ready to come together as a council and city manager and to set our goals and strategies. That's a different,
The first thing is you do the team building. Once you establish the ground rules on the team building, then we go forward and we set the goals.
okay, because that's very important. Okay, looking forward to that. Are we going to do anything about the orange cone dividers? Or am I just going to complain about it all the time? They're ugly. They're ugly.
I agree. They are ugly. We can't do anything about them until we do a more comprehensive infrastructure improvement there. In order to do that, we have to acquire more right-of-way because of the turning radius of the trucks.
So how long will we have to look at those orange cone dividers on Cole?
Until we get some grant money to be able to do the improvements.
It's cross Denny's, you know what I'm talking about?
You can always look the other way, Bill.
No, I don't want to. Okay. One more item. Mr. City Manager, has it not been a long time since we've had any systemic, serious evaluations on our employees, our directors and supervisors? How long has it been?
It's, well, I can't tell you exactly, but the evaluations at least on the management team, are beginning in January. So I'll be doing evaluations on them. As you know, some of our top managers have not even been here a year. So we have to give them the ability to perform for at least a year before we can do the evaluations. 2 of our department heads, one has just been here a year, and the other one hasn't even been here 6 months. So as you know, we've had a lot of changes at the top. But my goal is to have some evaluations done in January, this month.
This month. Good. All right, I'll talk to you more about that. We'll move forward on that. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hodge. Mr. Moreno?
I'd like to wish everyone a happy new year, a prosperous new year. This has been for some people it's been okay, but for others it's been very tragic. I understand that there was a young man out in Brawley that lost his life on Saturday, and I know that the community came together in support of the family. There was also another pair of individuals from Imperial that died in a plane crash.
That's right.
And even Calexico, we had a situation at one of our trailer parks where I believe it was an elderly couple, the Ojedas, if I'm not mistaken, that lost property, and I believe there was a death in the family as well. And to congratulate, or to give thanks, rather, to our public safety. I understand that police officers had pulled them out, and that is something that we don't see very often, everyday heroes. But to me and to our community, I think that they should be applauded. They should be given thanks on the duty that they perform, risking their lives going into a burning building. So Chief Nujar, Chief Mercado, and your teams of excellent officers, my hat's off to you, and I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart to make sure that our community is safe. And even though that sometimes things happen and they're tragedies, there are some good things that hopefully we can shed light on. So congratulations. I know that there is a fundraiser for the family. I know that our mayor is going to be talking about that. I also want to remind our city manager that I think it's key to be safe in this community. And I had mentioned it a while back, but I think every house in the city of Calexico should have a number visible for public safety. And I don't know if we have an ordinance or what we can do to enforce this critical part of our well-being. I know that, and I'm speaking as a school administrator doing home visits on occasion, I can't find particular houses that aren't labeled, looking for students who are not in school. But I think it would be in the best interest, not only of public safety, but of everyone, if every dwelling had a visible number. So if there was an emergency, seconds, minutes would be able to be shaved off a particular emergency. And maybe that could be the life and death situation of somebody. So hopefully we can get, Mr. Rodriguez, something in writing that says, you live at this residence, we have to see your numbers in front of your house so that they're visible. Again, thank you, Chief Mercado. Thank you, Chief Nujar, and your team of heroes.
Thank you, Mr. Moreno. Mr. Kim?
Happy New Year. 새해 복 많이 받으세요. As a Korean said, we like to have you a lot of luck in New Year. I've been noticed about the incident of the Lockwood and Kennedy, the corner, the street. They always having issues, and especially when they have a corner turnover. And I've been seeing myself a lot of cars running very fast. And I believe we need to put a signals light over there, and what's called with the blinkers. I believe that one young girl died from an accident on that day. And actually, I know the person who lives that corner house, and they explained me how was. And also we have a lot of kids going crossing the street that time, and we need to have a stop sign over there, and not just to. I don't know. We have to go to all the study to how traffic goes on, but there already been cases, lots of cases against that street. So we need to do something on that safety for the residents people. And also that one, the city council didn't get the report on those, and even newspaper didn't pick up. I like to have those kind of big instances to city council get the report from our staff. And also, what I'm understanding, our police, 2 staff was injured in the accident, and I didn't get the report neither. And especially when we involved our staff, the city council members should be report for that, regardless of what kind of injury was there. Our staff been jeopardizing their safety. Our city councilman's job is to know what's going on there. I like to have those kind of reporting cases if we have I wish not to have it. The other one is Mr. Cuevas still here? Yes. That was one of the items I was going to bring it myself, and I'm glad you bring it. I was there in Santo Tomas, and during the weekends, I was embarrassing too. I'm not going to leave that areas. So much dust, and the park invading residential areas, parking all over. First of all, our plan, I believe the Santo Tomas was earlier than the residential areas. In that building the house, we should have safety situation before to build the house over there. Now residential and commercial put together, they have big issues. But do we have a power to move over the Swamit? I don't think so. And my suggestion is they have to redirect the entrance, not the V.V. Williams. They have to interest 98, right after past the railroad, the entrance put it there. So they can use the last of the next of the railroad, the last of they park the car already there. So that way we can have we can take away heavy traffic from the Santo Tomas. The where is the entrance right now, we just let them put the fence to not to exist to the residential areas. So they can come from the 98 directly through their own property to go into Santo Tomas, not to using the V.V. Williams. I think that's best solution for that.
I wish our staff too can look into help the community there. I believe the residential areas get the first, then commercial. And I was talking with Mr. Servin a little bit, but traditionally we have winter times to repair the streets. Last time I was here to explaining why they have to be in the winter time about the temperature. But now January, February, March, probably until the April, we might can fix the street. Why don't we fix the street this time? So many streets have been very cracked. We have a lot of specific street has to be entitled to be fixed. I believe this is the right time to do it too. So that way we can spread the workload to do so the community doesn't get much get the effect on the traffic matters. And the traffic, I believe the trailer park next to the Price Center, they've been burned. I've been passed by the how it was. I'm glad the city manager called me to about the incident. But when I go there, the windy day and the last burned debris has been outside without any protection. That I don't know what kind of chemical been burned over there. They might wind blow to the people to safety hazardous materials. I believe in those cases we might have to put some like tents, whatever, to make sure to not to wind blows to for the community. I understand they might have to keep the place to investigations or whatsoever, but we have to cover for the safety of the people. And also I got some of the community members from there says one of the houses have 30 dogs in one house, one trailer park. And they are for selling, so they're selling the dogs. They are very dangerous dogs, pupil. 30 pupils there in the one house. And city doesn't do anything. I believe the city has to organize with the county. What understanding is a trailer belongs to permit from the county. So I think city and county together try to check all the trailer parks for the safety. And also they have some racks down there. And I believe that we have to make the teamwork with the county and our probably fire department, building department together to safety check all the trailer parks. Thank you for listening the comment.
Thank you, Mr. Kim. Mr. Castro?
Yes, I'm concur with Mr. Kim related to the issue what happened on Rockwood and Robert Kennedy. What happened there was a fatally accident, and that's something that we need to concern. Why? Because there is a elementary school, a kindergarten school, and what I noticed, there is not enough patrolmen are working every day, and that's something that we need to take care of our people, our students, our seniors. I think, Mr. Rodriguez, we need to start working very serious in these issues. Why? Because like in a month ago, already happened this accident. We can wait to another fatally accident in order to start working on public safety. I think we need to focus and work on these issues. So that's something that I concern. Like last public council meeting, I mentioned related to what happened with the 20 kids and 6 adult person that passed away by someone who went to that school and did a massacre. So my concern still is we need to work in public safety. So we need to focus 100% we need at least what I noticed, we need at least to start working to send a patrolman for each school. They can start and take some call from the school. They can start working every morning. Every morning. I know sometimes the patrolmen, they receive some calls from Calexico, but at the same time, it's not every day. But we need to focus on the kids, on the seniors, on the people who lives in Calexico, and definitely we need to focus on that. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Castro. I'll keep my comments brief because I don't feel very well today, but just recently we did have a community vigil for the victims of the Connecticut massacre. It was held at Kermit Park, and it was a really nice event. We had about 200 people there, and it was really nice, and I was very thankful to the school district and to the Calexico Association of Teachers to put it together, so thank you very much to those who participated. As Mr. Moreno was saying, and as you know, many of you know, that we did have a fatality from the fire that occurred at the trailer park, and I think it was the Bertuzzi trailer park, and there's going to be a benefit, there's going to be a concert, and I believe it's this weekend. Let me see my information. It's going to be this weekend, and it's going to be at a lot that's kind of on the corner of Cloak and Cole Road. It'll be an outside event to hopefully put some money together for burial of the family member that was lost in the event. So hopefully the community can cooperate and help us out. So thank you very much. I think that's it on the comments section, and we will move on then to the consent agenda section of our agenda. I need approval, please.
I'd like to pull number 2 and 3. Separate discussion.
Have a second for that?
He wants to pull one.
2 and 3.
2 and 3?
Oh, you want to pull that, sir?
Yeah.
Okay. So,
I'll second the approval of item number 1.
okay, let's go ahead and vote then on that. Let's get that. Thank you. Okay, Mr. Kim, item number 2.
Well, I saw the lease agreement for the $1 per month for the Pell. And is that how long was, I'm sorry I didn't have a chance to read the terms. How long are we going to give it to them?
Mr. Rodriguez?
The term is a 3-year term.
3 years. But they're going to pay all the utilities and together?
I'm sorry?
They're going to pay all the utilities and repairs
Yes,
or maintenance?
they're responsible for all maintenance.
Okay. And I believe that's for the children. We are willing to give them the like $1 per month or per year?
A year.
Year, okay. So like kind of a free contract. I'm glad our city is engaging on those. But I'd like to see a lot of city property to rent, lease some other entity. I'd like to see some entity we might start collecting for the lease, the rent from them, we can subsidize the money to redirecting money for the youth center, we can spend money for the children. So I'd like to see some older documents and the lease, at least the information, the lease terms when they finish, and how much lease and which entity, all the lease. Then we can say we can discuss for the future. But I know that has to be on the agenda. But I'd like to have information on all the lease from the city to lease it to the other entity, and the terms.
I think what we're discussing, if I may, is just this lease agreement, if we're going to approve it or not.
No, so I'm using this
okay.
one to talking about all the lease.
Oh, okay.
I understand that this is like good ones.
Okay.
But same time, I like to have all the lease agreements from the city, all the lease, not the whole contract, but all the summary of the lease to every our city's the facility to the other entity.
Okay, so.
Thank you.
You
I'd
just
like to
want-
approve I'll make the motion to approve it.
I'll second.
Okay, please vote. Where's Miss Estrada? She's left? Congratulations.
I think it's a little too much for you guys.
99
$1 a
cents?
year.
Is it $3 for 3 years?
Next year will be 99 cents.
The council said that they would pay for that, I heard them, so.
We'll all pitch in. 20 cents.
Okay. Item number 3, Mr. Kim.
Item number,
I'm sorry? Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, Tony, I didn't see you there. I'm not doing very well.
That's all right, not a problem. My name is Antonio Garcia, Tony Garcia. I live at 1101 Amada Court. And the trailer in question is what we're going to hopefully have as a base of operations. We're a nonprofit organization, and we do soccer tournaments. We're going to do basketball starting this month. And we're doing a lot of things. We have a lot of plans. We're here extending the lease of the contract. We want to have it as our base of operation. We've dealt with the organizations, all the other the sponsors. We need this, and we thank you for voting positively on this. We work in concurrence with the Recreation Commission. They know what we do. They know what we want to do, and they concur with the lease, the extension of it. And we're working with everybody. If anybody has any questions, any ideas to make our program better, welcome. We have big ears. We'll welcome you here. Okay, we had this last tournament. We had 55 teams. That's at least 11 per team. So that's a lot of people. And this before this meeting, I came from El Centro. 2 of my best friends are coaches over there. They went coach Central High and Hopefield High. And they asked me, how do you guys do this? Talk amongst the coach and the DVL is, we are the envy of the valley. I love that. We want to keep it going. And Coach Blancarte and the coach from the Calexico Bulldogs, the girls also, they owe us because we gave them the good players. The foundation is there. Thank you for everything.
So you tell them, only in Calexico.
Of course. Thank you.
Mr., you guys cannot create a league through the valley?
Unfortunately, Mr. Kim, every city has their own entity, like Boys and Girls Club, the PAL Club, and they all have their ideas. They all have their way of doing things. And we have not been able to come to a concurrence for us to go and join the leagues from the other cities. We have teams from El Centro, from Brawley, from Westmoreland, from Hopefield, from Sealy that come down and play with us. What it is whether it's the staff or the dedication of all the coaches, the volunteers, that's what it probably is. I don't know, but they want to come here, and we're going to keep it going.
Yeah, I'd like to see create some kind of a Cesar Chavez Cup League from the Calexico through to all the county. So maybe you might can think
Invite the
about
county?
creating.
Okay, we'll make contact with them. Thank you.
Thank you, Tony. Y felicidades, señor Estrada. No estaba usted aquí cuando votamos a su favor.
Okay, ¿puedo decir algo?
Sí.
Gracias por apoyarnos en lo de la traila y en Semana Santa se va a inaugurar lo de la traila porque le estamos haciendo pues muchas renovaciones y vamos a tener aquí de invitado de honor, va a venir Isaac Acuña con todo su equipo, que estamos hablando como de 20, 30 jugadores profesionales. Ahí está Cuauhtémoc Blanco, su promotor, Juan Hernández y muchas figuras más. Eso es para que se reconozca Calexico, porque la verdad quiero decirles algo, aquí nada más estamos criticándonos, no nos ponemos a trabajar. Quiero que por favor nos pongamos a trabajar, porque aquí hay críticas directas sin saber qué tanto trabajo hay aquí. Yo les pido de favor que agarren una cubeta de pintura y vayamos pared por pared a quitar esos graffiti, no estar ordenando, y hagan esto, y hagan acá. Yo pienso que si nos unimos y nos ponemos en conjunto a trabajar, vamos a salir adelante, porque me da mucha tristeza que pasen personas aquí y digan, quiten a esa persona de ese trabajo, porque esto y esto otro. No podemos hacer así. Si hablamos con esa persona directo, esa persona corrige los errores y así es como avanzamos, porque todos necesitamos de un trabajo y de ser voluntarios. Es todo lo que les puedo decir. Por favor,
Gracias.
señores, hay que trabajar en conjunto, no podemos pelear y venirnos a quejar de cosas que no podemos quejarnos. hay que trabajar en conjunto y todo se arregla mejor. Porque si vamos a empezar a criticarnos, va a seguir lo mismo. Y no se agarren la cabeza, hay que ponernos a trabajar.
Gracias, señora Estrada. Okay, Mr. Kim. Consent agenda item number 3. You had some comments? You pulled item number 3 as well.
Yes, I think I have some all the information, what I'm gonna need it. And also, I was pulled the same purpose, but I'd like to make a motion to approve it.
Second.
Okay, please vote. Congratulations to the United Families Daycare Center. You're welcome. Okay, moving along on the new business section of our agenda, item number 4 is discussion and/or action on naming the Calexico Cultural Arts Center the Carmen Durazo Cultural Arts Center. This came from Mayor Pro Tem Hodge. Before we begin our council discussion, I have a couple of individuals that would like to make comments, starting with Mr. Oscar Gonzalez. You have your 3 minutes on this item, Mr. Gonzalez.
Council member, administration, staff, public. You know, independent, and in all due respect, you can't hear? In all due respect to Ms. Carmen Durazo, there's many people that need, I don't think this list has been researched, and let me give you some names. Victor Palacio Sr., the father of Mr. Victor Palacio Jr., who taught many years business. He came out in the Alamo with John Wayne. Margaret the Nicochea's brother, Mr. Padilla, also came. Those two gentlemen came out in a lot of movies. Also, Tony Benson came out in the famous movie Bye Bye Black, with Anna Margaret, Bye Bye Blackbird, or Bye Bye Birdie. Tony Benson came out in that movie, an actor. My nephew graduated from UCLA. He's playing parts, small parts. We also have Henry Castillo, an actor who could be considered. Chacho Mesa, a musician in the 30s, and his kids are still playing music. Mr. Johnny Romo, who earlier introduced himself, is probably, he and Carlos Montejano started rock and roll here in Calexico, believe it or not. And Mr. Romo doesn't only play rock and roll, he's a flamenco composer, etc., etc. My brother, Jesse Gonzalez Chato, he recorded over 25 records, recorded 5 long plays, and I'm not saying because I hope he doesn't get nominated for that name. My father played in Mexicali and Calexico. He had a trio from the 30s and 40s. I hope he doesn't get named, but I'm just saying, also, there was another guy, the Mesa Boys, Mesa Brothers, Jimmy Mesa. His brother Oscar played with Tito Puentes. His other brother Richard played the trumpet with the New York Symphony for many years. They both passed away. Also sons of Chacho Mesa, brother of Chacho Mesa. And you also have Benny Mesa. He started the Latineers, but that was like a small band. Luis Nogales, who's probably one of the richest guys, multi-millionaire that came out of 4th Street, played for the Latineers. He
30
has,
seconds, Mr. Gonzalez, okay? 30.
3 seconds?
30.
30?
30.
What?
30.
Anyway, when you name something for an art culture, you have to be inclusive and not only rush to judgment, Mr. Hodge. You have to, and then I could go on and on and on. We need to update so that the city council can have a diversified, there's also female actors. I guess I would spend, the reason I know is because I'm in the process of completing and updating the history book of Calexico, which was
Thank you.
incidentally written by Margaret Romero, her thesis in 1924 for Southern California. Thank you. I hope you
Thank you,
don't
Mr.
vote
Gonzalez.
tonight.
Thank you. Okay, next to make a comment on this item is Mohammed Asyad. And Mr. Gonzalez, don't go anywhere because you still have item number 5, okay?
I don't want to comment.
You don't want to comment on that, you sure? Jesus, who? Well, Mr. Asyad, I understand you're just giving me your sheet here. You also want to make a public comment, which is not...
I thought I could make it on the same.
Okay, you're throwing me off here, Mr. Asyad.
I thought I could make it on the same, when I turned in.
Okay, it's going to be a little hard because we're already
Okay,
on this.
I'll
Okay.
pass. I'll just
Because
make-
if I do that with you, I have to do that with everyone, and I'm not too
No,
sure I want to
it's
do
okay.
that.
I'll just address my issue.
Appreciate that.
I'm here tonight to ask the council actually to approve, naming the Carmen Durazo Art and Cultural Center. I believe, she deserves it. I know there is a lot of people, and I sat on the street naming committee, and we have approved a lot of names in the city, and many names. So, it's not an issue. But I believe from the letter of the Chamber of the Commerce and a lot of people, citizens of the city of Calexico, I think she did a lot for Calexico, and I believe she would feel a lot appreciated. And I have spoken to her yesterday or the day before. I think she would be really, boosted emotionally and mentally if this happens, and if it can be a little ceremony done on the 24th. She will be around here just to have it. Her situation is getting, not in the best thing. But I thank you very much to take an action tonight. I think it's just time consuming. And, I don't need to tell you who's Carmen Durazo. And I think she's a great woman. She's done a lot for the city. And I think this is just a thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Asyad. I'd just like to make an additional comment. We do have a letter here from the Calexico Chamber of Commerce dated January the 8th, where the Chamber of Commerce also supports the naming of the Cultural Arts Center in the name of Carmen Durazo. And it appears from the letter that she worked very closely with the owners of the historical De Anza Hotel, where our Cultural Arts Center is located, in order to have it become a reality. So thank you very much for that letter, Ms. Carrillo. I can see you from there.
Madam
I
Chair,
see
can I have
Mr. Gonzalez there as well.
Just 1 minute.
You wanna comment on this item?
On this issue, I spent 10 years in the Beautification Commission. In those 10 years, 6 of those years, I was the chairman. And it was there, Mrs. Carmen Durazo started with us. And our meetings were big. We had a lot of projects. We actually did a lot of work. And half of our projects were because of Carmen Durazo. So it became so big that the committee decided that we needed to do an arts commission so it can be a part. So she did a lot of work. I also favor what he said, you should have a big report, but I just want to mention that she spent around 6 years in the Beautification Commission, and she was always into arts, cultural, and that's the reason the Arts Commission started. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think that we need to stop because I don't have any more sheets, and we can't be taking public comments without the sheets. So I think we're going to now start with our comments here on the council, if we have any. Go ahead, Mr. Hodge, because you did bring this item, Mr. Hodge, and thank you for bringing it.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. To address, Oscar Gonzalez, while you were naming all these wonderful artists, and you're indicating that they're from here, or at least the Valley. So I was visualizing at least what we could do in the Cultural Arts Center is to recognize them. I could see their names or plaques or something on the wall. I think that would be outstanding to allow or to let Calexico as a community know how many gifted artists we've had historically. But I made this proposal And so I'd like to give you my reasons why. Historically, we can all identify Calexico citizens that have given so much to our city, but I can't think of anyone other than Carmen Durazo who has given so very much, selflessly, tirelessly, to the city of Calexico, to the people of Calexico. Now, as you know, Carmen Durazo is battling cancer as we speak, as I speak, and I can't think of a more appropriate time than now to reflect on her many contributions and to honor her. Whatever Carmen Durazo has been involved with, it has been with a high standard of care, dedication, and professionalism. Carmen Durazo has worn many different community hats here in Calexico, but the one that is most notable is her strong passion for the arts. She instinctively understands the need and the value of the arts in our community. There's a long list, but I'm not going to read them all. We could begin with that she served on the Imperial Valley Arts Council, served as a member, just noted, as Beautification Commission, Calexico Arts Commission, and Economic Development Commission, served as a Housing Authority Commissioner, served as a City of Council, Calexico Councilwoman from 2004 to 2008, served as a Calexico educator for many years. While representing Calexico on the Imperial County Arts Council, Carmen became aware of the many arts programs and special events that were being supported by various cities in the Imperial Valley. And as we often find ourselves doing, she asked, why not in Calexico, with the help of city leaders and many community members. And it's true, it can't be done by just one person. Carmen stepped into action. With Carmen's leadership, the Calexico Arts Commission and Calexico Arts Council set out to fulfill the master plan that was devised. And the first project for art in public spaces is now known as the Binational Mural Project. This friendship bracelet, which was painted on the international fence, brought together over 1,500 volunteer artists of varied ages from both the Imperial and Mexicali valleys. The first of its kind, public art, to join two countries and its people in friendship. Carmen envisioned a place where people could meet, take classes, showcase their art, and come together to celebrate talent and cultural events. Through the generous support of local businesses and community members, the Calexico Arts Council worked to fundraise over $50,000 to complete the mural and help establish and furnish the Cultural Arts Center. So she has many, many accomplishments. And considering these accomplishments, I am proposing today that we honor her and we rightfully name and change the Cultural Arts Center to the Carmen Durazo Cultural Arts Center. I think that's a notable move on our part. Thank you.
I'd like to second for discussion, if that was a motion, Mr. Hodge.
Yeah, that will be a motion.
I concur with Mr. Hodge as well. I feel that the Durazo family, stemming from Carmen's mother, who was a pianist, and the cultural arts that grew up. I had the privilege of working with Ms. Durazo way back in the early 90s when she was teaching a drama class at Vincent Memorial. Much like Mr. Hodge, arts are very important in my life and in the lives of any community member. And I can understand where Mr. Gonzalez is coming from, because there have been many great artists that have come out of Calexico, and it would be a very good tribute to have something in the culture, in the Carmen Durazo, if it gets passed today, Cultural Arts Center, with recognizing those individuals from Calexico that have made those achievements and have gone to bigger and better things. We have a lot of young people. We have a lot of frustrated artists that we can tell at the talent show had this year, earlier in October, and we can see that we are fostering the arts and the creativity that this community has and will continue to have and will continue to generate through future generations. So having worked with Ms. Durazo, having worked alongside as she was a teacher of mine back in the day. I mean, she's been in the business for a while. And working with her at the high school and working with her in the theater companies, I can't think of a better person than Ms. Carmen Durazo to name this Cultural Arts Center after. Thank you. I'll second it.
I have discussions.
Okay, so I have a first from Mr. Hodge and a second from Mr. Moreno.
I have discussions.
You'd like to make a comment as well? Go ahead.
Well, Ms. Durazo, I known her very short time, probably about 2-3 years been working together. And even matter of fact, I asked her to be a Arts and Cultural Center commissioner. She gladly she approved it. She'd like to be the commissioner. Now Mr. Hodges try to give her the change name of the after her name. I will support. One reason bothers me. The mostly we naming the place to after people. She especially bothers me. She's fighting with the cancer, and I just blocking me to it is proper or not. So I think Mr. Durazo is here. Ms. Durazo's the son. Is there anything that bothers you? I'm glad to support it. Is there any chance? Can you give me some answer? Mr. Durazo?
Is Mr. Durazo, Ms. Durazo's son here?
Yes.
Apparently, sorry, Mr. Kim, what is it that you're asking him?
It bothers me to support that because we give the name after the people. But she's fighting with the cancer. It's for me like blocking me. Say,
Okay. Hold on, please. I think that probably we might need to just a second, Mr. Kim.
Yeah.
I think that might be a question that might not be appropriate for this time.
Okay. So that bothers me. I don't have any opposing to name her, but the thing is that's what the one is bothers me. It's like, should I support or not?
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Kim. I do have a first and a second, and any more discussion? No?
No, definitely
Okay.
I'm supporting
Okay. Thank you.
that issue. I've been here in Calexico for almost 40 years and met her like probably 25 years ago. And definitely what my colleagues said, I mean, what they're saying, I mean, that's the truth. She's an excellent person, excellent wife, excellent teacher, and definitely support her.
Thank you.
There's no doubt about it.
Thank you. Okay, again, we do have a first and a second. Why don't we go ahead and vote? Ready? Captain? And thank you.
Thank you very much.
Our best regards to Ms. Durazo, and God be with her. We're moving on now to item number 5, Mr. Gonzalez. We're moving on to number 5 from new
It's
business.
Elvis's birthday. Thank you very much.
Our item number 5 is discussion and our direction to obtain grants writer services. I do have one public comment from Roberto Moedano on this item.
Good evening, City Council, audience. My name is Roberto Moedano, 827 Cesar Chavez Boulevard. And I just wanted to talk about how this grants could be a really help to the city. I know we keep saying we're under budget. We have budget cuts all the time. And we cannot always be relying on others to get the money that we need. So having this service to give experience to the people of Calexico to look for the money out there is essential for us to continue moving forward and work as a team. Because sometimes we like to look up to others, but we also should be doing our own part. I've had the opportunity to work with grants, have grant experience in LA, and I feel that not a lot of people have that privilege. So if I could help with this process in any way, I'd be more than willing because this is a resource that is essential in bringing more money to the city. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Moedano.
Fine
Okay.
young man.
Before we vote, I think that there's probably going to be quite a bit of discussion on this one, so why don't we go ahead and start here with Mr. Hodge. Have any comments on this item?
Well, I'm not the only one, but just recently I'm the one that pushed for this. It's long overdue, ladies and gentlemen. I think that this, if we got the right person or the right entity, this would definitely pay for itself. For me, this is one of the reasons why we haven't progressed or moved forward, because we're not proactive, we're not aggressive enough in pursuing grants. And then sometimes, for whatever reasons, we drop the ball and we miss a deadline or other reasons. I just want to see the best for Calexico. We need to bring in revenue. We need to bring in money. And this is one of the key ways of doing it. I know there's going to be discussion as to what's the best option. I'm looking forward to hearing from my fellow councilmen. But from this day on, I really be very disappointed if we don't move forward one way or another on this issue. We need, whether it's inside our city hall or in our community, whatever, we need a grant writer, a grant coordinator. Long overdue. Thank you.
Okay, I apologize to the council. I should have asked our city manager for some input first. I'm sorry. No, it's okay. It was my fault.
This item is brought forward as requested by council. The information you have before you is really for you to be able to discuss it and give direction to staff as to which way you want to move. There are three options that we presented to the council in reference to addressing this item. One would be hiring an individual within the city staff. Of course, if there's such an individual and that was the route, if we went that route, then of course the financial impact would be minimal. Because we would just basically take their particular duties and spread them out throughout the organization. Option number two would be hiring an individual from outside of City Hall staff. Obviously, there would be an impact on that. There would be salaries and benefits and office expenses if we were to move out and put it out at large into the community. Option number three would be hiring a current grant writing firm, a firm that does that for a living. There are benefits on why I would recommend that you look at hiring a firm. And these benefits, I believe, are a firm should have contacts already established as to who they would contact in order to move the grant forward. The firm should also have possible funding sources already identified, because that's what they do for a living. The firm would have more than one individual probably working on a grant, where in our case, if we hired one, whether it be in-house or outside the community or into the community, they would still need assistance, whether it be from our existing staff or office staff that they would need to be able to run that particular department. And in either case, whether it's even a firm that would be doing this, they would also require staff input because they need details from the particular department in reference to what that grant is. If we are trying to obtain a new fire station, they're going to need to talk to the fire chief in reference to the requirements of what that station is going to require. If we're going to be building a new park, they're going to need to talk to staff in reference to what we're looking for the park and possibly the Parks and Rec Commission. So they're still going to need input regardless of who that is. A benefit that I do see is that you could run a pilot program. And we always are talking, and rightfully so, that we've got to watch our pennies because it's a tough economy. But with a firm, you could run a pilot program, 6, 12 months, do a monthly reporting every month. What have they filed for? What have they obtained? What have they been awarded? And you could then cut them off at any point you feel that we're not making any progress and have a 30-day cancellation clause in there, and not have to worry about whether or not the employee becomes a permanent employee, and now we have to go through the process of termination and go through the whole process of an employee rights. So I believe there are certain advantages. If you so desire to move forward, I would recommend that you strongly consider a firm versus an individual.
Okay, Mr. Hodge, you've made your comments already, so Mr. Moreno.
Okay, yes. Have we had a firm in the past 3 or 4 years, Mr. Rodriguez?
My understanding is you had
Townsend?
Townsend, I think was their name.
Wasn't Townsend lobbyists?
They were lobbyists?
My understanding is that they are lobbyists.
Right.
But they're not grant writers?
They're not grant writers.
Okay. And hiring an individual with existing on the city staff, do we have anybody that comes to mind? I mean, off the top of your head? No names, but I mean, is there somebody out there with a track record, a proven track record? Okay, those are the things that we need to think about.
Yeah, we do need to think about, as you well know now, what happens is each particular department is responsible for trying to seek funding and to prepare applications with the help of staff if they're so available. And of course, the one thing that is difficult is that we have time constraints, and so it makes it very difficult for our own staff to be able to address that.
I think what we need also to do is to look at the grants that we've been awarded and the grants that are currently in process to give us an idea of where we're at. I know that we've got some new council member on board that may not be aware of what grants I know we got Stone Garden, I've got those other ones. I know that we've had a list of them before, and we discuss them on a regular basis. As far as looking at the best possible scenario for the city, I think I like the pilot program. To me, that seems to be the easiest. That seems to be that, something that we should consider.
Thank you. Mr. Kim?
I agree with the concept that we need money to find it. I'm the one pushing last couple of years, and I've been giving the several lists. And matter of fact, I found the grant from the federal for the fire safety grant, $35 million for the 500 entities. So minimum, we might gonna be able to get 70,000 or upper. It depends on how we write the grant. I'd like to give us a fire chief tomorrow to send Mr. Fire Chiefs. So I'd like to send the grant to you because Mr. Rodriguez was telling me to the department head has a duty to write the grant, own grants. So I found the $35 million for the 500 entities grant, which is probably $70,000. So probably it's due by, I think, January 18. So I have to give you tomorrow morning. And also, I agree with that, the concept, we need a grant, but the hire the entity, whatever, but we not finished the reorganizing yet. We should finish the reorganization ourselves to who does, where, the goes to what kind of work they're doing it. And like right now, so we have ability ability or duties, each department had to their own grant writing, then we already have a grant writer ourselves, because our department head is going to be write the grant. They're supposed to write the grant. If they don't write the grant, they're not entitled to be there. They're supposed to know how to write the grant. They have to supposed to be how to do their job. So I believe that we have to looking for the more information of the grant. Might be we can try it ourselves, but before that, before we hire any entities or any individual, we should finish our reorganization matters first. That one we have to be first to finish our reorganization, then we hiring or entity or somebody. That's my point of view of that.
Mr. Castro?
Yes, I would like to make a motion to open the grant position for local people from Calexico. Why? Because we need someone to really take care of who knows the needs of Calexico. And I believe that there is too many people capable here in Calexico. So that's the reason I'm supporting to open that position for local. And we can decide today, or we can decide another public council meeting. But the thing is, we need to we need to look for revenues. We need to look for benefits, and that's my concern. Thank you.
Do we have local firms here?
Well, I can't think of any right off. We would obviously have to put it out. We would do a request for proposals
Yeah, I
from-
think one of the, Mr. Ortega, the neighborhood house, he's been writing the grant a lot through the federal and state. And also, they have several people been working for the grant. But before do any movements, I still like to finish our reorganization first. That we're gonna need how we're gonna do it. So we have to finish the reorganization first to our staff first.
Did you get that?
Okay. I have a question. So with the comments that Mr. Kim is saying that he's suggesting that that consultants not be brought in until finalizing reorganization, even if we were to reorganize, the reorganization is to minimize our staff. So if we're minimizing staff, that means that your staff no longer has the same time, and as it is, we are on furloughs. Is it appropriate even to expect that once finalizing the reorganization, there'll be anybody left over with enough sufficient time left over to be a grant writer?
Well, again, the reorg is a continuing process that we go through to try to make sure that we're utilizing the current staffing in the most effective, efficient way. Now, that doesn't mean that if you desire to look at staff and say, okay, look at who is best qualified to do something like that within the staff, that we probably couldn't come up with somebody, okay? We currently have a projects coordinator. So we would have to look at the ability of those credentials of those people. Now, in turn, whatever some of those duties would then be filtered out into some of the other departments or somebody else in order to provide the time for that person to be able to dedicate into researching and applying for grants. Remember, it's not just applying for the grants, it's researching the grants, find out where they're at, what department it is, who's the connection out there, who do you contact. There'll be requirements to deal with other departments because they may need financial reports, so they have to deal with finance, even though it may be a fire department application for something in fire. But I think one of the biggest issues is the ability of time. As we narrow our organization down, which is what we're doing through the reorganization, is lowering our organization so it is vertical rather than horizontal, so it's easier to manage. We are also have a plan in place that says when people retire from the city, unless they're public safety, we really don't replace them. So as we're going through that process, because of the economic situation, it's putting more and more pressure on our existing staff. So here you're talking about adding an additional requirement to our staff as it is, with the potential that we're going to even continue to reduce our staff further. So I think those are just the concerns that I would put on the table for you to consider as you give us direction on which way to move.
Thank you.
Ms. Hurtado, my reorganization means not every single employees. I'm talking about the reorganization is for the management staff.
I think we're pretty much completed with
staff has to be, but it's not done yet because we've been just couple days ago we changed some redirecting our chain of command. So it seemed to me that it doesn't finish the reorganization from our management. So what I understand, what I'm saying is reorganization of our management teams to finish that, who's taking care of which the areas. Then we can discuss to, like Mr. Castro's idea, to open to the public, include the employees of our staff to those, or maybe even open that one. We can go for a commission basis.
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
I think we're putting the cart before the horse in this case. I know that we've got some team building coming up, and I think we've got some goals and objectives that we need to settle as a council. And I think once we go through that process, I think we would be better prepared to address this particular issue at that time.
What do you feel, Mr. Hodge?
Well, listening to each and every one of your concerns, it does appear that we need to do more investigating on these three options, because each one of you have made some valuable arguments.
Mm-hmm.
But boy, I don't want to beat this to death, and I don't want this to last forever because
right.
It is so much needed. We're never, never, never going to get ahead.
Well, see, it is important, like you said, to possibly have the opportunity to take in more, because you also need to consider that each department has different grant writing needs, and they should be taking care of their own needs. So if you do hire then, or bring in an outside person to be a grants writer, who would that grants writer be working for? Which departments? If in fact those departments should be already taking care of their own issues.
That's why I'm saying we should wait for the team building, for the goals and objectives, for the council, make a better prepared decision than just going out and just shooting for the stars and see what happens.
Although I'll say that
So
I
I
do like
would-
the pilot program is probably the easiest, not easiest, but the most comfortable way to go without having to hire anybody. And you test somebody and see how productive that organization can be.
Right. We also need to know which direction we're headed and what are the needs of the community. You know, when you develop that team building, those items can be discussed, and what are the things that we need the most, parks, recreation, et cetera, and get input from the staff and get input from the community. And I think we should go that route. I think we should, this is a great idea. This is a great item on the agenda, Mr. Hodge, if this was your idea. But I think we need to come together as a council and try to see where direction we want to go. Traffic congestion, Mr. Cuevas, whatever it is, I think this is something that we need to be better prepared for before we just go out and say, you know what, let's get a grant writer, boom,
No,
boom.
I understand that. You don't want to be rash. But I sure don't want to be sitting here next year and we still haven't done it.
Okay,
But
so
that will be one
think
of our
we all-
targets, is to make sure that this is addressed and this gets placed in the city in the springtime. That is our target.
Mr. Lutado, I think so, it's a good, Mr. Moreno, you're not artist yet, huh?
I'm not what?
You're not famous artist yet. So for me to hard to remember again. Okay, Mr. Moreno's idea was, I think is a good idea, but I'd like to add from there to our city manager finish the reorganization until that time about the management, so we can together where we're gonna stay and then how we can go for them there.
Well, and just to follow up on a couple of comments that were made, I think if we move forward with the team building, I think that will answer a lot of questions as to where the council as a council wants to go, so that you can then set policy, and then I will be a lot clearer as to where you want to go.
Yeah, so can you finish the
That will also help me in the finishing of the reorg, yes.
Yes.
Okay, I think Mr. Castro wants to say something.
Yes, I want to mention that we already work with, I believe, Town Center.
But Townsend was lobbyist. think.
Well, but yes, but my Town Center, what's the name of the company, the firm?
Townsend.
Town Center?
No, Townsend.
Townsend, okay. We pay, like, I believe, $64,000, right, Mr. Oscar? Oh, you wasn't here. Well, what I remember, because I've been here for 4 years and a half, and we pay $64,000 for that contract to that firm. And they lobbied for us, for the city of Calexico. But guess what? We don't get no benefit from that, from that firm. So my concern is we need to work like now. I mean, we need to start working, and who's gonna represent us in order to do the grant writer, in order to look for benefits. That's my concern, because I've been through that situation. I've been here for 4 years and a half, and I believe we need to start doing something.
Okay. Mr. Gonzalez, please, when the discussion is in council, we can't take public comments anymore, okay? I'm sorry about that. Okay, so as a general consensus here on this council, then it looks like you guys just want to wait a little bit?
I believe Mr. Castro has a motion on the floor.
Well, I make the motion to look for a grant writer locally. That's my motion. I don't know if.
Or as a preference, hopefully priority to be because that might, if it's possible, to find someone locally.
Someone from locally. Well, that's a different. That's
That
my
is,
motion.
that's a slightly different than probably where we're at right now. Do I have a second on that? Okay, you might want to modify that motion a little bit. Sorry.
I make the motion to wait until we team building, and same time management to give the management finish the reorganization. then we can discuss at the team building.
I think you have a great idea, Mr. Kim.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second that.
Okay, I have a first and a second.
I wanna hear the motion again.
Say that
Please,
motion
Mr.
again.
Kim.
Motion again, Mr. Kim.
We wait until team building. That time to give them, that is give the time to the city manager to finish the reorganization of the management team. Then we're gonna know at that time how we standing and how we're gonna do at the team building. We're gonna discuss.
So in other words, I'll second it, we'll table it for, after the
to
team
the-
building and after the goals and objectives.
Okay, so I have a second on that.
Okay.
Do I have a second?
Yes, I second it.
Okay, Mr. Kim first, Mr. Moreno second. Go ahead and vote, please. We just won't take our finger off it. Okay. Thank you very much. Motion passes. Next item is item number 6, discussion and/or action on board, commission, and committee appointments. Council members Moreno, Castro, and Kim. And if you'll notice, gentlemen, items number 6 and 7 appear to be the same exact item. Looks like a slight typo here. Is that correct, Gabby?
A little differences.
Are we looking, it looks like it's
So
two.
number 6, we was discussing about the ordinance, other eligibilities.
The items can
Oh,
be...
the eligibility is number
Yeah, they
6.
can be combined because item 6 says discuss eligibility and make appointment. So 6 and 7 can be combined. It's just there's 2 issues. If the council wants to discuss changing the eligibility requirements, that can be first discussed, and after that, appointments can be made.
Do I have a different agenda that doesn't say eligibility?
You know what? It says it on the staff report.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't carried over to the actual agenda.
I feel
Okay,
that-
so we'll start discussion then on eligibility for board commissions and committee appointments.
I think the eligibility requirements are suffice to say that it'll work for our community, so if there's no other discussion, I'd like to make a motion to approve the eligibility requirements
Okay, do I have a,
as they stand.
okay, do I have a second on that motion? Mr. Hodge? Did you say something?
Second.
Okay, first and a second. First by Mr. Moreno, second by Mr. Hodge. Please vote. Okay, motion passes 5-1. Okay, thank you for the clarification on that one. Number 7. Number 7 is now the actual appointments of for new council member for the vacancies on city boards, commissions, and committees pursuant to Calexico Municipal Code, Chapter 2.19. We'll start with item A, which are the appointments by Councilman John Moreno. You must have a list of what it is that you need to do, right?
Yes, I've got 2 that I need to appoint for the beautification. I would like to appoint Marianne Valenzuela, and for the economic development, I'd like to reappoint Robert Herrera.
Okay, great. That's all you needed to do today?
That's all I needed to do.
Okay, great. Item B is the appointments by Councilman Jung Kim. You must have a long list.
Well, I'm not ready for this one because I was based on the information I had that we have elected person sitting in the committee. So I thought I could be able to nominate the elected person. I spoke with them to ask them. They will say, well, in case of, if we change the ordinance to they are willing to sitting on the committee. Now the city council doesn't want to change the ordinance, so I cannot nominate the elected persons. And I'm sorry for them to, I have to redesign my nomination to the committee.
How
So
many positions do you need to nominate?
I think 13, something like that.
13?
Yes.
You're not prepared for any of those?
Only I have prepared for the Ms. Durazo. So I'm going to name it today for the Ms. Durazo as Art Culture Center Commissioner.
Okay.
I already spoke with her by the phone. She gladly to serve the community. I'm glad that I told her you are strong ladies. I believe you're going to do a perfect job. And
Okay.
she's a strong woman I ever seen, and very relatively strong ladies. She has a strong power to. When I spoke with her, she was very powerfully talking to me, and I don't see like she's ill, and I believe she's going to do her job better. But,
Okay, so when we come back on the 22nd, then you'll be ready?
Yes, the other one is I have to come back on 22nd.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, next is item C, appointments by Councilman Luis Castro.
Yes, I would like to nominate for planning department to David Dusan for planning department. I would like to, for that commissioner, and also for the other appointment is gonna be for recreation department. I would like to nominate Salvador Cuevas, is here. Hello, for recreation department.
It's a Java.
And also, I would like to nominate for Measure Age Commission to Francisco Sanchez. He's not here right now, but I nominate him. That's it.
Okay.
That's all I have.
Thank you very much.
Oh, Ms. Hurtado, I forgot to Measure H.
Oh, you wanna go ahead and-
H,
You
yeah.
want to go ahead and appoint someone
Yes,
for Measure H? Okay.
Yes, so Measure H, the Sonia Redona,
Well, she was already on Measure H.
the Mr. Castro pulled her out. She was nominated by the Mr. Castro.
Oh, okay, we're just switching who she's
I'm the
appointed
one
by.
who's nominated.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much. Moving on then to the next item is a public hearing. And, let's see, what time is it? I'm going to go ahead,
The item that you're going to have a public hearing on is an item regarding a bridge. We have inspections of bridges, and this particular bridge is north of the Robinson Ford that goes into Camacho. And the bridge was inspected and found to have some deficiencies, and so therefore the loading rating on the bridge needs to be lowered, which basically means that we have to post that it can only take a certain load. Okay, so for example, maybe a fire engine could have gone through there prior to the inspection, and now they found certain deficiencies, and so they're not recommending that we allow that to happen. So this gets a temporary posting by the county, and then there's a requirement under the, let me see here. There's a requirement on the California Vehicular Code section that requires that we hold a public hearing and let people comment on that before we can permanently post the load rating on the bridge. So that's what you're doing today. You're going to hear a public hearing, hold a public hearing to get any comments that anybody may have. And it's important, obviously, that then we post it and identify clearly what the load rating is on that bridge. One example would be like the fire department, if in fact the bridge could sustain a fire engine prior to this when it was barely built. Now that it's been inspected, it may not, because they can't take the load. So the fire department would have to know that in order, so that there's a fire on the north end of quadrant of the city, that they would route their trucks to go another way, obviously, than taking the bridge. So it's very important, especially in public safety, that they realize what the load ratings are on these bridges so that they know whether they can use their vehicles to reach those particular sites. So again, today what you're doing is you're holding that public hearing, taking comments, and then after the comments, no comments, we can move forward then with the permanent postings.
okay, so we're going to open the public hearing. It is 8:45 PM. Item number 8 then is public hearing to reduce bridge load ratings for bridge number 58C-0037. Are there any comments in favor of this project? And you look like you might be wanting to say something on that. Come on in. Just state your name, please.
As Mr. Rodriguez just said about the bridge, I mean, I just want to give you some idea about this bridge. And before that, I want to say who we are and what we are doing, and what's the conclusion for this bridge. My name is Ashraf Shinoda, and I have my coworker George Zoropapel, and I have my supervisor Gideon Ureda. And we all registered professional engineer in the state of California. We work for Caltrans, the Office of Structural Maintenance and Investigations. I'm the area bridge maintenance engineer for the local bridges. And Caltrans engineer responsible for conducting public hearing when the posting bridges as required by the California Vehicle Code, Section 35751. The general purpose for this hearing is to briefly inform the general public of our rule, provide general details of why the bridge is to be posted, the act as catalyst for any comments from the public to the bridge owners. As of January 2005, we do not record attendance or comments from the public, nor we do retain any such records concerning the procedure of local agency public hearing. In the capacity of the State Department of Transportation representative, we are not the bridge owner, nor we are empowered to make decision with regard to the position of the bridge. Our role in this hearing process is to explain clearly what our involvement in is and conduct the required hearing. As such, we can only answer questions regarding to the California Vehicle Code, Section 35750, and the City of Calexico, Mr. Servin. The Department of Public Work will answer any question regarding the engineering investigation of and analysis, and all other questions are directed to the bridge owner. In this case, the City of Calexico Director of Public Works, Mr. Nick Servin. In this case, our office is representing the State of California Department of Transportation regarding public hearing for posting the weight limit for these bridges below the legal loads. That is 25 tons per vehicle, 36 tons per semi-trailer combination, and 40 tons per truck and full trailer. The State of California Department of Transportation is responsible for conducting federally mandated NBIS National Bridge Inspection Standards, safety inspection of bridges in the State of California, including the bridges in City of Calexico. The purpose of this inspection is to evaluate the structural integrity and condition, and to determine the safe load capacity of all publicly owned bridges in California. This program is to ensure the public safety. In accordance with the NBIS, an engineering investigation and analysis was made and will be done on 12-month cycle. A safe load capacity calculation was performed for this particular bridge on July 5th, 2012, in accordance with the 2000 manual and condition of evaluation of the bridge. For this bridge, 58C0037, Scaroni Road over Central Mill Canal, the calculation shows type 3 truck, 7 ton per vehicle, type 3S2, 3 tons per semi-trailer combination, and type 3-3, 14 ton per truck and full trailer. And this bridge should permanently posted for this new loads. That's my part, and if somebody has any question, you can welcome.
Madam Mayor, I have a couple of questions.
Yes, go ahead.
Will our fire trucks be able to cross that bridge? I think you mentioned at the beginning, I just want to make sure that I heard that correctly. What will happen, will they go to an alternative route if they need to get to an area over there, or what's the deal?
I believe we already addressed it with department staff this week.
Okay. Secondly, will this deficiency in the bridge be rectified?
Speaking of grants and speaking of rectification, we do have a grant to do a further analysis of the bridge. In doing so, we're going to define specifically how to address those deteriorations of the piles, which are the problems that they've identified in the report. So the first phase is to study it, find out how we can repair it and how much it's going to take to repair it, prepare some design plans, and then go for funding. We have to go for a grant to get the funding to either replace the bridge or remedy the bridge.
Third question, Madam Mayor. In the event of a serious earthquake, how sturdy is that bridge?
I'll acquiesce to Caltrans.
Sir?
Come here.
I'm sorry, you'll have to come to the, yeah, please. The recording doesn't pick up your voice.
These calculations are done only for vertical loads. There is nothing regarding horizontal loads, I mean earthquake, that's included in this calculation. This is part of a totally different program, and if you have questions regarding to that, you should address these questions to Caltrans, to our headquarters. There is a special section called earthquake engineering section, and they should address the problem.
So Caltrans did not address the natural catastrophe, but only the vehicles crossing the bridge?
No. We are running only the program that my colleague was reading about. The earthquake program is a totally different program.
Is that something that we may need to look at? I mean,
It's totally different program. It's addressed by a totally different section in Sacramento.
Okay. So we don't know.
Just don't go over the bridge, John.
Just go the other way. I mean, there's things you got to think about down here. Okay, thank you.
Okay, are we done?
That's it. Thank you very much.
Okay. Any other further comments in favor of this item?
So I have some questions to the city manager.
Sure, go
So it's not sure what we're going to do it with the,
Can we need to just finish the public hearing to see if there's anyone in favor
Just
or
second that.
against.
Do we have any comments against this item? Okay, being that there are no further comments, we're going to go ahead and close the public hearing at 8:54. Okay, I believe you have comments then, Mr. Kim?
yeah, it was just a simple question. In case of they not recommend us to either we can pass or not, how are we going to do it then?
Well, it'll be rated as far as, and I don't know what that, I guess that goes by weight, and it's posted. And regular passenger vehicles, I don't see that's an issue. It's really,
That is correct. We can actually use the bridge. It's just a limiting of what type of trucks can go over it, and it's defined, and we have it posted already. The hearing today is to make it a permanent posting to allow us such time to, investigate further, design it, and then construct it.
But what I'm saying that Mr. Moreno was asking about our fire engines can pass or not.
The answer is no.
No?
No.
Okay, so we're not going to pass it.
No. And fire department has already noted that, and they're readjusting their travel.
yeah, and that's why we want to make sure that the public in general, especially not only our department, but throughout the whole county, they're aware.
Is
So
that
if we have a
any chance
mutual aid concern and they respond to us, they know which way to go.
Is there any chance we can enforce in the bridge again with the, we have I think it's the grant for the money for the street?
Well, as the Public Works Director has stated, and the representatives of Caltrans, they do have a section for that, so we need to investigate in their section if they have particular grants for that, which we will do.
Until we do something, we have to lower the rate of the passing the street, bridges.
Yes, once we do the investigation, we'll seek grants to help us with remedy.
Okay, thank you very much. Next public hearing item, item number 9. We'll go ahead and open public
I
hearing.
think we need to have a motion related to the permanent posting.
Oh,
Is
we
that
do?
right, Mr. Servin?
I make the motion to approve it.
Okay, I have a motion to approve. Second?
Second.
Okay, please vote. Thank you, Ms. Lyons.
Thank you.
Okay, next public hearing item is item number 9. Public hearing to consider a resolution of the City Council of the City of Calexico assessing the levy of the Calexico Business Improvement District for calendar year 2013.
What you're going to be looking at as far as this public hearing, and I'm sure you'll have comments from the bid also when you go into your public hearing. What we're looking at tonight is to hold a public hearing to get for and against comments in reference to whether or not this bid should continue for the 2013 year. There are no major changes. You have the backup in reference to the reports that have to be made. It was posted so that the public is aware of it, so that they could be here today. There are no major changes in reference to what the bid area is or what the bid cost, what the fee was going to be. It's still going to remain at $100 per business. We have approximately 380 businesses, which would raise approximately $38,000. They have estimated that they would have $18,000 balance coming into this year. So therefore, they've assigned a budget of $56,000, and you have the report that they have submitted as a requirement as to what they're going to spend their money on. It's required under Streets and Highways Code Section 36500 to 36537 that this is a process we need to go through. And the expenses for this particular bid, the assessments would be for the promotion, marketing, and advertising of professional and retail businesses located in the bid. So again, tonight, you're to open up a public hearing, take comments. If there is a majority protest, which in this case, there's approximately 380 businesses, therefore, if 190 businesses were to come up here and protest, you could not move forward with the bid. I don't think you're going to have that tonight.
191.
Yeah, 190 plus. Okay. So you will need to have the public hearing and take testimony, and then we'll ask you that you consider adopting the resolution for the continuance of the bid.
I felt I did open the public hearing. I did open.
That's background.
I don't remember.
Okay.
Go ahead and.
All right, it's just that you said when we opened the public hearing, but I did. Okay, do we have any comments in favor? Mr. Morris, Risen.
Thank you, Mayor and City Council people. As you know, President of the Calexico Business Improvement District, I couldn't have said any better than what Oscar just said. He said the whole thing in a nutshell. As you know, right now we're 4 commissioners, and it is volunteer. Everything is volunteer for us. We're not on the payroll. We're here to help downtown. We can't keep downtown idle. We have to make noise. We need the car show. We need the Halloween carnivals. We need everything that we've done and more. We're here to promote downtown and want to keep it promoting, but we need it. And like I said, we can't keep it idle. We can't keep this town quiet. We're losing businesses. We need business downtown, and this helps us a lot. And we're just asking you to extend it one more year, at least this coming year anyway, and see what we can do this year. And I'll appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Risen. Any further comments? Did I see Hildy? Okay, so any comments not in favor of this item? Okay, being that there are none, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing at exactly 9 o'clock.
Madam Mayor, I want to just say that, if I may, that the BID is very active. They've done a lot of great things for downtown Calexico, and I move that we approve this.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Please
I have
vote.
discussions.
Okay, go ahead.
Again, I work there in the downtown areas as a merchants, and I believe the volunteer people, they were working hard to try to having nice party, but not affecting the business in the downtown. Nobody doesn't know about downtown. They know where is downtown, there is what kind of merchants there. If we have a party directing them to come down there to embarrassing us to all the dirty downtown, after they coming back, the downtown is dirty and filthy, and same time there's hard to pass through. I believe the bid has to be directing their interest to promote the downtown. I'm agree with to help the downtown, the merchants. I'm the one small merchants. I like to see they get help from the city and state. But I believe that the same region, you got the big meeting, not many merchants are coming in because they're losing interest. And
Mr.
I
Kim,
believe-
I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Yes,
However, the item that we're discussing right now is the assessment of the levy.
Yes.
If you feel that you might want to have a discussion with regard to what the bid does, you might want to go to their meetings, which,
Well,
Madam Mayor, I just want to call for the question. I believe this is a good thing, and we've already had a first and a second, and if Mr. Kim wants to discuss this with the bid, then he can do it on his own time,
Yes,
not on
what
our
is-
time.
Well, you called the question, but I'm not stopping yet.
I call for the question, madam, please.
yes, I believe that we
Call for
can't.
question
we
has to be-
should-
We need a vote on calling for the question.
Call for question has to be voted by the members.
I call for the
Mr. Mayor.
question, that's my motion. Is there a second?
Is there a second on the call for the question, so we can go ahead and vote on the item, which is the assessment of the levy only? Do I have a second? I will second on the call for the question. I believe that we should go ahead and vote. So item number 9 then is,
This would be the vote on the call for the question first.
okay, call for the question is so that we go ahead and make the vote and not continue any discussion. So can we please vote on that? Mr. Hodge? Okay, if the discussion does end at this point, then we go ahead and consider the assessment of the levy by a new vote.
I believe I made a motion on the floor, and I believe Mr. Hodge seconded it.
Yes. Thank you very much. Okay, ready? Please vote. Thank you very much. Passes 5-0. And again, Mr. Morris Risen, when is your next meeting for bid? Tomorrow morning, and it's usually which days of the month? Second Wednesday of each month at 8 o'clock in the morning at, here at City Hall. Okay, thank you so much. And right, he wasn't prepared today, so we'll be having that soon. Thank you. Thank you very much. Moving on now, we're in the informational items of our agenda. Item number 10 is acknowledge receipt of the 2012 local agency biennial notice.
Acknowledge.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Item number 11, acknowledge receipt of commission's attendance report. Okay, thank you.
I have a discussion on those.
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah, the commission, I've been seeing the several commissioners, they are on call only.
The what? I'm sorry?
Several commissioners, they are on call.
On call?
Yes, I believe we have to have some schedule them to meeting at least once a month. So that way they can, that time they can, if they have any agenda, they can have a self-training or some kind of workshop for them. That way we can have keep going on. So the on-call, maybe 2-3 months, nobody call, and then they call, they're not gonna be able to do anything. So I believe they have all these commissioners, they have to have a meeting schedule. So in case if they don't have not much agenda, they can use that time as like workshops.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I agree with you. I also think that they should be part of our whole team building, if possible, whoever can show up.
Maybe down the road, I don't know
Well, whatever, what it goes initially.
I also would like for them to continue coming and giving reports.
Right. Okay, and obviously, we still need to put those positions in place. So once they're all there, then we can start to have them do some work.
Okay, so we are okay then to put set the schedule, let them own schedule?
First you need to appoint. Once you
Okay.
appoint, then we'll go back into that conversation. How's that?
Okay.
Okay. All right, how about if we finish this meeting? Meeting adjourned. Thank you.